Hello and welcome to another episode of the Dumb and Dumbest Podcast, a music industry podcast where everything is terrible and the house is on fire. I'm Matt Bacon of Prophecy Productions, Ripple Music, and Dropout Media, and I'm here with dewarpr's very own Curtis Dewar.
The one and only.
Today
Literally
we
the
are-
one and only.
Today we are talking about
Mailing list, apparently. Mailing list.
Anyway,
Not just like regular mailing list, but your mailing list. Like as in you, the listener, not you as in Matt Bacon.
yeah. So what are you...
It's going to be great.
Okay, yeah, it's going to be fire. So what are some of the basic tenets of mailing lists in your experience?
Well, you got to have a list, number one. That's the tenet number one, numero uno. And you got to have a method of gaining identities. So I don't know how you do it at a show because this isn't my forte, but I would assume it would be done by having the person fill out their name, address, phone number, and email list.
Ideally, having it on some sort of tablet is, I think, the move.
Okay, so we're doing it on a tablet then, or maybe even filling it out on a card. Just some method that you have in order to collect information at your show, either at a merch booth or possibly even at the front. I guess I'm not really sure on that one. You'd be more knowledgeable on that, Matt. But
Sure.
but for online, another method is you want to be able to collect emails via. Most people have like some sort of email host, like for example, MailChimp or Active Contact or Constant Contact or whatever, and you just collect emails that are given to you freely, I might add, not that you just take off the web because that is illegal and spam, and you collect them into a database. So those are the basics is that you collect someone's name, phone number, address, email address, and you compile it into a list. You also want to get the physical address because if you ever decide by some stretch of the imagination that you want to actually do a mailer, then you got it.
Exactly.
So that's
the other advantage of physical addresses that I think not a lot of people realize is that you can actually use them when you're marketing a tour. You can break down your mailing list by zip code.
Mm-hmm.
And then people in a specific city will get the email. And not only does that make you look really good, but also more specifically targeted content always performs better.
I agree. I never even thought about that. That's a fantastic idea as well. Another thing too is if you have a mailing list, like I said, you want to use a mail program, not Gmail or Hotmail or something like that, to send out a professional newsletter or bulk mail out every week or every month, however you prefer to do it. Every week is usually preferred because they tend to get more response the more frequent you do them. But you want to have a professional program. And the reason why, again, is because Gmail tends to look goofy. And a lot of people will do like instead of doing blind carbon copy, they'll accidentally CC everybody and then they'll include a billion people's email addresses, which will just piss people off. You don't want to be that band that does that.
Been there.
Yeah. Everybody's been there and everybody's always gotten that snarky fucking comment that's reply all to everybody else. And then it gets really annoying.
Yeah. So, just appreciate that. But here's the thing too, is like your mailing list is going to make you money without you actually having to do anything. Because like there's a ton of like email list format things or whatever the fuck that will tell you like, here's an email you can send out to sell more shirts, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, guess what? That's a great way to boost your shirt income because an email to sell more shirts is pretty straightforward. You work in a little bonus. Like if you buy a shirt, we'll put you on the guest list for a show or something. And then bam, you're basically fucking done. Like,
well, I want to add one more thing because Matt's talking about the monetary angle on it, and that's true. Now going from just like a little bit less than monetary, I know we want to talk monetary, but for those of you who think that all money is bad and capitalism is evil and all the rest of it, because I'm sure we'll get that comment, but even if you don't, that's fine. Another good thing, the one other thing you want to keep in mind with an email list is it keeps you in communication with your fans so they don't forget about you.
Exactly.
which also eventually will lead to more income as well. But one thing that a lot of bands don't realize is that they'll take like maybe 4 or 5 years off between albums, or 3 years or 2 years. And there's been so much stuff released and you haven't even communicated to any of your people, they've forgotten about you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if like, how do you feel like when Matt, I'm talking to you, how do you feel like when you were a fan of a band, you sign up for their mailing list, you don't see anything for 2 years, and then just out of the blue, they start emailing you to buy stuff like 3 years later just because they all
Yeah.
of a sudden release something? It sounds
It just
cheap.
feels weird. It's just
It
like,
does.
oh, they're like they view me as part of the cycle,
Yeah.
part of the thing. You know, like there's been no like
There's no warm up. It's not, it's like you're
yeah,
not,
there's been no maintenance of the fan
yeah,
base, as it were.
yeah,
Like I'm not, you know, like
exactly.
I get an email from a band I haven't thought of in 3 years, and it's
Yeah.
like, well, I haven't thought of you in 3 years. Why am I gonna start caring now?
So what you could be doing is not like, you should be pushing for sales, and I'm not saying you shouldn't. You should also be sending out email, like regular newsletters, where it's like, here's what we've been up to, this is what we're doing, we recorded this song, or this week we got into a bar fight with Joe Blow, and this is my cat Pete, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like goodwill advertising you also want to be doing, and that's extremely important, is to make sure you got that in there as well, to create
Yeah.
a bond with the fans.
And like honestly, with a lot of it, if you're like looking for content ideas for this, you can literally just take a really good social media post that performed well.
And just repurpose it. Yeah. Like, one thing that always works is if you do something about pets, like it's almost one for one. Like Matt could take his fucking cat, put him on social media, and do something about I love my cat or whatever, and he'd probably get a ton of traction with it.
Well, why do you think that whenever I get a gift bag from like my friends' bands,
Yeah.
why do you think I always pose the cat with them?
Well, it's because it gets more views, obviously.
Exactly. And I'm trying to promote, like, and I just want to promote my buddies. Like, I'm not really like,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of people don't necessarily realize that. Like, that's how deep this goes, is like, yeah, some like every post on the Instagram or wherever is, should be kind of curated, but also realize like, here's how I'm going to push things, and simultaneously, if you have a lot of content to sell, don't be afraid to go and to push it and sell it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? People will like, the best thing about mailing lists is it's very easy to unsubscribe. So I hit my mailing list with sales every week, but I don't really get any unsubscribes, because usually what I sell them is relevant.
Yeah. And even if you do get a bunch of unsubscribes at first, it really doesn't matter, because those are usually the people that weren't going to buy it from you anyways.
Yeah, those are the people who accidentally signed up to the mailing list, or
Yeah,
whatever.
or they just thought they were getting into it for something else, or they just perpetually get mad when someone talks to them. There's lots of people like that. Just don't worry about it. There's far less people that are like that than you think. So just send out the email, and just don't worry about being called a spammer or anything like that. And you won't be called a spammer as long as you are sending out good content. If all you're doing is sending out one link, a YouTube link every week saying buy my shit, that'll probably annoy people. So it's got to be meaningful content that sells at the same time,
that people are going to connect to. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So and now simultaneously, there's a ton of ways to boost your mailing list. The best way is probably a giveaway, where it's like, enter your email, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
Just because the siren song of free shit has always worked. So that's just rule number one.
I've seen from a lot of guys that are the professional music marketer types. I don't know how successful they really are, but they claim to be like Lee McHenry and Chris Greenwood and stuff. They claim that offering a free song download works to help increase your mailing list. Whether it does or not, I'm not sure. I'm just letting you guys know that is apparently something that's been successful according to these guys. If you want to try it out.
If you're trying, here's just a basic rule, is that if you're trying to promote your band, think about, and you're trying to do a giveaway, think about if this is something that you would want if a band you like to put it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like in a lot of cases, like I personally don't really see the value of a song download when it's on fucking Spotify.
Me too. I'm just telling you, that's what I've seen.
Yeah.
They claim that they do well with it. I'm just saying, maybe it'll work for some people, maybe it won't.
What I do see the value of, however,
Mm-hmm.
is, I don't know, maybe some unreleased demos that you'd
That could
never
be.
get otherwise.
That could work.
You know, that's something we're talking about doing with some people I work with. You know, is things like that will definitely draw the attention.
Sounds of us farting.
What?
Sounds of us farting. Unreleased anywhere else. Free download.
Exactly. That's going to be for our Patreon subscribers when we start a Patreon.
Yeah. Only $10,000 a month. You can hear the sounds of farting.
Anyway, you know, so like also be very thoughtful about what your giveaways are and thoughtful about what the value proposition is of someone joining your mailing list, because it shouldn't just be to be sold to. You know, what could work is giving a song in advance exclusively to people on your mailing list.
That's a great idea.
You know what I mean? Or like Spotify does a great job with this, where it's like if you're a listener to a band, they'll go and give you, you know, an advanced pre-sale link.
Yeah.
Right. And like that's another great way to be like, yes, okay, I would like an advanced pre-sale link. Click, click, click. Here we go.
Yeah.
You know, like there has to be serious value coming through. Otherwise, it's just like, why the fuck are you here? You know, you want to be giving fans something they're not going to get anywhere else, you know, and you have to appreciate that the music doesn't really have value anymore in an era where, you know, for lack of a better term, we have infinite music. We're post scarcity in music.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
You know what I mean? So like you need to be thoughtful about how you're delivering and what you're trying to give people.
Exactly. One thing I would suggest, and I'm sure Matt would agree with me on this, is that if you have any questions on how to come up with a freemium or a freebie or anything like that, you should probably go and get the book .com Secrets by Russell Brunson, and he goes over the whole thing about how to offer a freebie and what to do with your mailing list afterwards. It's really
Absolutely. And some of it isn't really as applicable to bands, you know.
Of course, yeah.
Like
but
you have to adapt it, but it's going to give you some ideas.
Yeah, there's a whole section in there that's fantastic, and like Matt said, parts of it aren't going to be applicable, but I'd say about probably at least 60 to 70% of it could be applied.
Yeah, if it makes sense, if it grows, you're going to be able to figure out, you know, if you think about it for more than 30 seconds, you're going to be able to adapt at least some concepts to what you're trying to do. It's not too complicated.
I agree 100%.
So, you know, so that's sort of just where we're coming from, is like, have your mailing list, be able to curate it, be able to run giveaways through it, and then push your merch through it, you know, because I think that a lot of people who push their merch through Dropout through their mailing list, you know, you usually get like at least 1 or 2 sales out of that. And like,
at least sometimes
you know,
more.
That's sick. Like I want 1 or 2 extra sales, you know, and especially if you bundle it with something cool, like buy this shirt now and also get access to a pre-sale link or something.
We only have 5 left. Get them now.
These are the things that differentiate, that help grow, that make it more valuable, and it's a slow burn, and it's going to help you.
And one thing that I also do know is that the more that you email, the more sales you will get. A lot of people seem to think that the more that they contact their list, the more people are going to annoyed with them. But the more that you actually contact people, the more you seem to get. So don't get the idea that that you're going to be pestering people. Usually what will end up happening is you'll get more sales as a result of putting more offers in front of people. Yeah.
And again, it's going to take time, but like, you know, and again, you have to have the patience, you know, and the foresight that like, okay, not only is this going to take me time, but this is going to take, you know, I'm going to fuck up a lot. Like you have to be ready to fuck up a lot. Like, just because every little typo or every extra step radically decreases the chance of someone buying. But if you accept that you're going to fuck up and then just go from there, guess what? It's not really that bad. There's a lot of resources online, but you have to be willing to lose. You have to be willing to take the L and then move on to the next step.
Yeah. And with the typo thing, like it happens with everybody, even like the New York Times gets typos nowadays. So don't sweat it.
Yeah, don't sweat it, but also, you know,
you don't want to get it, but don't sweat it.
It's highly unlikely that any one mailing list mail out is going to fuck you.
Yeah.
If it does, send it to me. I'm curious.
Well, I mean, just so everyone knows, I have sent out press releases where I've sent Like this one time I sent out a press release when I was half out of it, totally sick. It was awful, tons of typos, and I still got a great response on it.
Yeah.
So just goes to show you, and I'm not proud of that. But it is what it is.
Yeah. It's, you know, you just have to accept it and then move on.
Yeah, exactly. But it happens.
Anyway, what do you have to plug, Curtis?
Today, what do I have to plug today? I don't think I have anything going on specifically today, but I have a lot of releases coming out this week. So what I'm going to plug today is my How to Optimize Your Social Media Profile book. I think I'm close to 100 downloads now. Don't quote me on that, but I was at something like 70 or 80 as of Friday. So I'm hoping to get 100 downloads. Once I get to 100 downloads, and the next thing is going to be to write a new guide. So if anybody has any ideas of what they want to learn about in a short guide, let me know, and I will do my best to help you. Otherwise, download the guide for now. It kicks ass. Everybody who's read it and has put it into use has said that it has done great for them. So anyways, that's it.
Yep. I actually want to promote my ebooks. I have not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 for free download at dropoutmedia.net/ebooks. And I'm going to link you to it.
The one I read was great.
The one Curtis read was great. There's a lot of them.
Yeah,
they're really fun.
Yeah.
They're pretty readable. They're straightforward.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. This has been Dumb and Dumbest.
Are we done yet?
Fucking Jesus.